Alright, so my mower is very filthy. It's gonna power wash my mower, but my power washer, I think the governor broke and it just revs really high and there's no throttle control to it. So I'm gonna take that apart and see if I can get that fixed. So my power washer, this is the choke and this is the choke, but this doesn't do anything because I'm pretty sure the governor broke inside the engine. So I'm gonna show you what it sounds like and then start taking it apart. That's another thing with my power washer, is the handle doesn't shut off. It's just always on. I put a little bit in there, but just enough to see how it runs. Yeah, so that's how it runs. If I run it like that, it'll probably just blow up. So otherwise it starts up very easy. Probably been over a year since I actually started this, because I've just been using this one that I got, but this one looks like it's leaking oil. So I'll probably have to figure out where that's leaking from, but I'll deal with that a different day because I don't. So the first thing I gotta do is figure out how to drain the oil. I got most of it out. Yeah, some of it spilled, but as you can see, that's why the grass doesn't really grow anyways. I'm gonna put this back in. Just cause I'll take this hose off. And then I think I'm gonna have to pull the pump off, which looks like 3 bolts that connect to these nuts here. Because to get the engine apart, I gotta get to these right here. Oh man, it's leaking all the gas that I put in it. That's not cool. That makes me think the float is stuck. Or not the float, but the needle. Alright, so to pull these off, I needed a half. And I haven't pulled them off yet. This is to get the pump off. Actually, these might not be right. Let me see if... And then so with the half, it was just kind of stripping it, just rounding it off. Now the whole engine comes off. And I got the whole pump off. So I don't need that, because that's not where the issue is. The issue lies in here. Alright, so now I'm going to want to take all this off. So I got to get to this bolt, this bolt. There's 2 more bolts in here, which I can reach. There's bolts down here. Let's see what I'm doing. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there's 8 lot of wrenching later. I got all those bolts out. I don't think there's any more holding on that bottom piece. So I think this is what's connected to the governor on the inside. I think I'm gonna have to detach these because they're attached to stuff on the top. Well, I just broke part of the engine off. That won't affect the way it runs, but it might affect me getting this piece off of here. Now, if that would have cracked to where the oil goes, then it would be a problem. Well, this is a little more difficult than I thought it was going to be, but you can see right there it's where it's coming apart. Something still holding it on. So I'm just going to have to keep pounding. Is that my problem? There's a belt in there? That's not attached to anything, but I don't know if you can see this. There's a belt. Oh yeah, that's not gonna work. Okay, so that's how that works. Now this comes right off. That's the governor. So basically the governor spins, which opens this up, and that throws oil all around the engine. This one came out of a push mower. Just spins, and these open. And opens and closes. I find that so interesting that there's a belt, and that's what spins the valves, I assume. So this is where the valves are. I don't know, it looks normal. I don't see any broken pieces in there. Alright, well, I took the carburetor apart real quick just to see how that looked in there. Looks pretty clean. Does seem maybe a little stuck. I don't know how much this is supposed to open. There's a little thing in here. It's the needle, that's what opens and closes to let fuel in. And then put all that back together. Then put everything else back together. And I'll have to see how it runs. I'm putting it all back together. You want to make sure you don't force this on because you want to make sure the parts inside all line up correctly so you don't break them when putting this back on. This way. So I'm gonna take the bolts. That would be why you can't get this in there, can you? So the other things I have to line up is this. This is like a key. That has to line up to fit in that. And then I have to line up these 3 holes. This one has 4 holes on it, but there's only 3. I don't know. Weird. So I have to line all of that up, which would have been easier on its side. But since I can't get it on its side, Alright, so this is why this is a pain in the butt. It's because I have to bend this in here. And then I have to turn this. And my hands are all oily, so I can't spin this with my hands. Alright, now that it's on, we could test it. Alright, I put it together wrong because it's all locked up. I can't pull the cord. So I have to pull everything back apart to put it back together. I haven't even started yet and I've already cut myself just from pulling on this. Alright, that's great. Alright, I don't even remember what tools I needed. I needed these. So my problem is when I put this back together, I put this in the wrong spot. Now I have no idea where it actually goes. All I can do is put it back on and hope it's the right way because you guys didn't even see any of that. It's leaking oil through the carburetor. Now that's probably just because I had it flipped up in every which way. That would be a reason to drain the oil before you flip it upside down and everything. Well, I was starting to hook it up to the hose and oil is just pouring out of where the carburetor is. I think I did something wrong. I don't know, it shouldn't just pour out like that, let alone from the carburetor. Alright, so apparently oil dripping out of the carburetor is a bad float or needle. So I did clean the carburetor. The float looks like it, I don't know, it all looks like it works. I don't know how the needle exactly, I don't know if it works or is not working. The float moves up and down. I don't know, I cleaned it. I gotta check the oil. I gotta move this back to a flat-ish surface. Or I'm just gonna add some oil to it and then I'll start it up and see if it runs. Alright, I just poured some oil in it. Yeah. Doesn't look like it's pouring out. Alright. Everything on it should be good now. Other than it still leaks out of the carburetor a little bit. Gas. I can't really do anything about that. I think it's just because there's oil, a little bit of oil in there that I couldn't clean all of it out, so the float's not fully floating. Too much fuel. Well, it's burning all that oil and that's leaking off of it, out of it. So, just gotta let it run. Alright, so I got my power washer back running up. Everything works good except for that. There's just always going to be water coming out of it. So other than that, runs great.